goblin clings onto you for life. And how much damage did you issue out, Sterling?
13.
13. The guiding bolt hits this Sasquatch right in the chest for 13 points of damage, and it recoils in anger and just bares his chest and roars, and spittle just splatters all over your face, Vaughn, and it looks very hungry. Welcome, Sojourners. You have found yourself a cozy place here at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Bookish and the Brave. And we pick up right where we left off, where the Sojourners are smack dab in the middle of walking into a goblin lair. They uncover treasures from the noble houses, but quickly learn the goblins are in league with a hungry Sasquatch. Will they make it out of the lair alive, or will Vaughn become the Sasquatch's next victim? And so for now, our story continues. Hawkins, top of the round. You hear this large roar. Sterling issued this bolt, and you saw something flash in the distance. Vaughn disappearing into a thicket. Once again, Sterling and Hawkins are alone, and Vaughn is off somewhere in the woods.
Hawkins will try to move so he can get line of sight, so he can get a shot. While he's moving, he's loading in yet a third type of special arrowhead, and when he can see one of these
large hairy
Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So when he can see one of these Sasquatch, he will ignite the end of the bolt and shoot at it.
And it's lit up like a firework. It is advantage.
Sweet.
Okay.
From the guiding bolt.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so you do have advantage.
15?
You're going for 12. Going for 12, yes. Yeah, you see the outline of this Sasquatch. It's a perfect shot. The bolt sails through the woods, and you're not needing to close the gap on the creature. You can keep your distance.
It needs to make a wisdom saving throw, DC 12.
It got a 15 or higher.
Okay.
Yep.
It takes 8 points of piercing damage.
Ouch. The bolt stays inside of him. He seems angrier now, Vaughn, as this beast has been stung. He rips out, picks at it, and picks a large human-like bone out of his teeth to make room for yours. The goblin's turn. This goblin does not let go of your leg and tries to go around your backside and just hold on tight out of total fear and terror. Vaughn, you have disadvantage on movement. You are considered grappled and restrained to some extent until this goblin is released from you. But he's using every bit of his energy to not let go and use you as a human meat shield. It's now the Sasquatch's turn. Sasquatch roars at you, and I need Vaughn to make a 13 con save. 5. As this spittle and hot breath hit you, you suddenly feel your legs begin to knot together. You take 10 points of damage, and you are paralyzed. Your arms go slack. The goblin's still hanging on to you, believing you to be the best line of defense. And then he takes 2 attacks. First one is a 13 to hit you. That's with advantage. The second one is 19 plus 6. Yeah, you take another 10 points of damage as he grabs you by the neck and lifts you up to his face.
As he grabs Vaughn around the throat, Vaughn stops breathing and passes out.
Yikes. Okay. Sasquatch has completed his turn. Vaughn, it's your turn.
Yeah, Vaughn's taking a nap.
Con save. Or,
Death save, yeah.
Death save, yep. 4. Not making any progress. Okay, Sterling.
So Sterling, now that he's kind of snapped into action, seeing that bolt go out, it was like, did I hit something? And he'll run to see what is going on. And how far away would Vaughn be from him?
You're able to close the gap with your movement.
Okay. So
At least
30.
get in range, yeah.
Okay. So seeing Vaughn, just not responsive, and this Sasquatch looking like it's about to eat him, he'll try and wake him up by sending another healing word his way for, let's see, D4 plus 4. So he'll get 7 points, and then he'll boost it with that chalice to give him an additional 10. So it's a total of 17 points of healing. Like, wake up, Vaughn! You're gonna get eaten!
Vaughn, instinctively on Sterling's turn, you come back to consciousness and you can see that the Sasquatch is trying to dismember your shoulder like he's tearing apart a chicken. And the goblin is still clamping onto your leg for dear life. Sterling, you hold your ground. You're at the edge of that forest. You're barely able to peer through and still see the fading glow of that guiding bolt. Hawkins, it's now your turn. The Sasquatch is no longer lit up, so...
Hawkins will move a little bit closer, still keeping his distance. He probably won't get any closer than, say, 25 feet or so. And he will take another shot with the crossbow at the Sasquatch. Oh, man. That's
going
a
for
10,
12.
10 hit.
Man. Nope, the trees catch the bolt. The cover is too thick. Anything else, Hawkins? Any bonus actions? Anything?
I think that's all.
Hawkins, the reason you have been so terrible with your shots tonight is there's this, like a pop-up in your mind that keeps going up. A thought you had, you read about this somewhere, and as you smell the Sasquatch and you hear its roar, it's like your mind is just tapping you on the shoulder. I'm going to allow you a DC 12 history or nature check, whatever is higher. Something about the Sasquatch you seem to remember.
Okay. This will be a 19 history.
It is, and that pop-up just finally gets in your mind, and you remember. I'm gonna let you take the wheel on this. You remember that Sasquatches have a terrifying fear of fire.
All right. So after that shot goes wide, it sort of bounces off various twigs. The thought finally comes to Hawkins. He says, "Oh, fire! Vaughn, do you have any fire?"
Yeah, Vaughn. You hear this? The Sasquatch's turn. Oh man.
Does he still have me by the throat, or did he drop me when? Oh no, he still got me wrapped up.
He's
trying to
able
tear me
to.
apart.
Yeah, he's able to. He sees you start to squirm, and as if he sees his meal beginning to come back alive, he's just gonna slam. Not only are you the meat shield for the goblin, but the goblin is also the meat shield for you. So I'm going to give you a +2 to your armor class.
That's going to be a 19.
Well, I rolled, 1 8 and 1 25. So you take another 10 points of damage. He slams and hits the goblin. The goblin instantly gets pummeled to the ground. He takes the blow of the first strike. Second strike, with the goblin removed from your body, he slams into your shoulder again and dislocates your shoulder at that moment. He prepares to see if you are still alive. He seems to intend to just beat you senseless, drag you off to its lair. Are you still up?
Yes.
He seems to want to go through with his mission, but nevertheless, it is your turn now, Vaughn.
So Vaughn is going to use Step of the Wind, and he is going to disengage, and he's going to run away. And this is a bonus action to disengage, and so then he is also going to dash, but because of his mobile feat, there's no difficult terrain, so he's going to run a good distance away, and then once he feels like he's very clear of this guy, he's going to reach for his bow, but he's not going to be able to pull it out because his shoulder is dislocated. So he's going to reach for his bow, and then he's just going to grab his shoulder and that'll be the end of his turn. So, in theory, he could be 100 feet away, but I don't think he's going to go that much away from his friends. So he'll move a little bit past Hawkins.
Vaughn, you go tearing through the forest, and Sterling and Hawkins are peering through the trees, kind of get a line of sight. Vaughn, you appear right behind them.
Let's get out of here.
Your turn, Sterling.
Get out of here. I think we should take him down. And with that, he's going to touch Vaughn on the chest and cure his wounds for additional 6 plus 8, so additional 14.
Put his shoulder back into place.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, that'll be a healing word, as that's a bonus action. And then he's going to run towards the Sasquatch with his shillelagh out and like a madman through the trees, just and so take a swing. And he gets a natural 20, baby.
Of course.
Yes, he does. For 2d8, he does 13 points of damage. As I said, Sterling is hot. His eyes are red. He doesn't want to die today.
Okay, well, Sterling, he's starting to look pretty injured between all this damage you've done to him. You smack him with this magical staff, and it charges this Sasquatch's body, and for a moment he goes stiff, and then he looks at you, and you can tell this prey is a little bit bigger than the last one. He didn't even see Vaughn disappear. He moved through the trees so quickly. It's a dead, plastered goblin lying on the ground, this large hulking Samoan man challenging the Sasquatch of the forest. You hold your ground, Sterling. Hawkins, it's now your turn.
Hawkins is going to try one more time to shoot, loading in a special bolt. Natural 1. Good grief.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
All of my dice are going in the trash after this session.
Hawkins is like, everything's just malfunctioning. All the machine is going to fritz.
I would love to be able to use my action surge and shoot again, but I can't do that because I'm using a crossbow. He's just going to throw the crossbow on the ground and pull out his short sword in one hand and his pocket lion in the other hand. The pocket lion will roar and give him the energy to take another attack. So he will attack the Sasquatch with his short sword.
Going into melee range. All right.
This makes no sense at all, but who knows?
Something's got to work today.
Another natural 1.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so yeah, at that moment, Hawkins, you just run in like fashion, running up to Sterling. In that minute, the Sasquatch rears back its hand to hit Sterling and smacks you in the face, backing you up. You're now behind the Sasquatch. You land in a pile of rushes, missing completely your strike. That being said, Hawkins, the bushes give way and you tumble down a small path, the clearing in which the Sasquatch came into the forest. You're now about 25, 30 feet away from Sterling. It is the Sasquatch's turn, so get ready, Sterling. As he roars at you, taking on your challenge, make the DC 13 con save against his vicious breath.
I got a 23.
All right, please describe in vivid detail how you succeed.
So he just Sterling roared and hit him with his staff, and this lady then just again like smacks Hawkins out the way, but then looks in Sterling's face and lets out a roar, and Sterling just takes it and then bangs on his chest, looks him in the eye, roars him right back in the face, and that is how he will react to that.
He's not seeing that it didn't work. He's just still going to pound you with 2 punches, and he gets a 5 and a 6. You take 2 to the chest, and the Sasquatch just looks at you, and his eyes go wide, and he just starts to shake you, wondering how to conquer this prey. And then he calls out a little bit, and it's very familiar to that language the goblins were speaking. Seems like he's trying to communicate to them as well. It's now Vaughn's turn. Vaughn, you see that it seems like at the moment you went back into the grove of grass and snow, your two sojourners went into the thicket deeper to chase after the Sasquatch.
Vaughn was holding his shoulder, and he felt the warmth in his shoulder. And as he saw his companions running, he instinctively went to grab his bow again. And this time, his arm agreed, and he was able to pick up his brother's bow. And he says, "Dieter, help me!" And he fires at the Sasquatch.
1 for 12.
Natural 20.
All right. Perfect shot.
12 points of damage.
Your arrow sings through the air, cutting through the thicket, and hits the Sasquatch in a very vulnerable spot. It bends over in pain and issues out a pitiful roar of injury. Instinctively, in a preservation of life, it begins to back away from Sterling. It seems to be very injured at this point.
How far away is he physically?
I'm gonna say 25 feet.
Okay, I can use my movement and then my bonus action?
Yeah.
So Vaughn, seeing the arrow hit true, is going to just start sprinting at it. And he is going to jump and use his flurry of blows to try to punch it twice in the face.
Chasing after the arrow, almost at the same time the arrow hits the Sasquatch, you arrive.
I got a 12 and a 15.
Both strike.
Oh, nice. That is going to be you're going to have a 7 and a 6 for damage.
And that is enough.
So Vaughn comes running, and he jumps, and you can't even believe it, but he flies right over Sterling's head. So he kind of hurdles Sterling as both fists come crushing down on this 9-foot-tall Sasquatch's face. And he kind of rides the momentum over the top of him so that when he comes down to his feet, he's straddling the head of this fallen Sasquatch. And he's just staring down at his face, ready to punch again if it moves.
You see it exhale its final breath. This large creature, and you can see skin, dirt, and blood caked under its cold fingernails. Flops to the ground. At this point, you see Hawkins still tumbling down the path from where the Sasquatch came. And on the goblin that had recently grabbed a hold of you is a very large money purse, as well as most of your items that are scattered about the forest now. The night sky is already over the horizon. You can hear the sounds of the natural creatures coming back to life as this very large predator has been vanquished.
As Vaughn lands, he's going to scream. It's just like a frenzied scream because of all the pain that he took and what this monster did to him and his friends. And then he's going to quickly gain his composure and look after Hawkins to see if Hawkins is okay. Hawkins, are you okay?
Hawkins splats to a stop at the bottom of the hill and slowly peels himself up off the ground. Yeah, I'm all right.
Sterling, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks.
I don't think I'll be sleeping tonight.
You picked this spot.
This was a bad choice.
I got to see the stars. Hey, but where did you fall there, Hawkins? Where does that go?
Down a long way. Hawkins is still trudging up the hill.
Do you think we can get out that way? Is it the direction we were heading?
No, it is actually deeper within the woods. It's the direction that the Sasquatch came into your view.
Then I'll extend a hand down to Hawkins to help him up if it's steep terrain.
Did you guys see all them skeeters that were flying around? There were a couple behind the goblins and around the. So I hit every one of them that I saw. First perfect shot right into them skeeters.
I didn't see that.
Well, they were very impressive shots, let me tell you.
I heard the whistle.
Yeah.
Vaughn is going to reach down and pick up that coin purse that he noticed.
It is heavy. You estimate it's about 100 gold and about $10,000.
He's not going to take time to count it. He's going to
Yeah.
he's going to encourage the other guys. Guys, we should move on. Let's start heading towards Boshin again and get out of this part of the forest.
Vaughn, I sensed a magical presence up there in that tree with you. Did you find anything?
I did. Let me let's move out of this area and I'll give it to you.
Oh, okay.
Vaughn's gonna start heading towards the path they were supposed to be heading down, and I don't think, unless these guys are exhausted, he's going to just keep pushing until we get closer to Boshin.
Well, let's pick up all our gear that's been strewn all about here.
Steel Defender, okay.
Oh yeah, I should probably see to it. Hawkins pulls up his sleeve on his left arm and says "shock" a couple of times and places that that power port strategically to sort of solder up a couple of open circuits.
Your stuff is not too well strewn about, for the goblin had collected most of it. You maintained control of your supplies and your rations. You see a few goblins leering at you in the boughs above, and the night sky beckons you onward. The road is still lying before you on the way to Boshin.
Let's I don't think we want to go into Boshin in the middle of the night, but let's get out of this forest and see if we can find some shelter not too far away from Boshin. Maybe I'll let you choose this time.
I think it's a good idea to stay clear of trees.
I certainly won't climb any trees looking for axes again.
Hey, though, it's a good thing you did that because, I mean, yeah, you remember me on the balance beam that didn't end out too well, but yeah, you were just dancing all around up there.
What was it you said you found up there?
It's this necklace. As we're walking and we feel like we're clear of the goblins, I'm going to pull it out and show it to these guys. I'll hand it to them. I'll extend it out, and whoever wants to take it can take it.
Sterling will take it and start looking at it through his star glass and ritualistically casting Identify.
Very cool. You take your time in doing that. Hawkins, what are you doing while he is identifying this item?
He's seeing if there are any markings on it that maybe look familiar. If he could learn anything with a history check, he would like to do that.
Okay. I'll let you make a history check then. Yeah.
Being a gnome, he has a special connection to magical items. 22 on the history check.
Yeah, you immediately recognize it even before Sterling finishes his casting. So I'll let you take your time, or I'll let you interject. Hawkins, what you know it to be is it's a magic item in which many noble houses would wear in order to cast enlarge upon themselves, and they would grow to usually twice their size in order to consort with more giant folk, to fit into giant parties, in order to not appear so small, to level the playing field. In contests and courtships, many times these nobles would pay a high price to wear this magical item. This beautiful necklace looks very feminine in nature. Very beautiful decoration, as if a noble woman would wear it. Yeah, it casts enlarge once a day.
Does it have the markings of any particular house?
Yes, it was the Chinasan family, the House Chinasan. They were, I believe they were the smugglers, the noble house that often practiced in smuggling. While they were not completely exterminated during your time in Boshin, like the Steeple Bottoms were, you know that they were most likely on that list. And this looks like the markings looked like it belonged to the Chinasin family house.
So as Sterling is looking at this necklace through his sea glass, Hawkins kind of, with his low vantage point, is able to see the bottom side that Sterling is not looking at, and recognizes the markings and sort of what it's for. And he sees that Sterling is looking at it very close, so he sort of politely waits a moment or two to see, so as not to interrupt Sterling. But as Sterling just keeps staring at it, he says, I think I might know what that is. You see this marking right here?
On that side. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's something to do with the China Aston house. Vaughn, are you familiar with them at all?
I do know them, or of them at least. We didn't interact very often. We worked different sides of the trade company and work.
Ooh, you mean that Chinasty. Oh, okay.
Yes, Hawkins and Vaughn, you would both know that the Chinasin family worked against the Beholden. The Beholden were the town city guards of Boshin. They would help noble houses smuggle large sums of laundered money, as well as smuggling toxins hidden away through the sewer systems below Boshin and out to the River Sharon.
Yes, as you probably know, Hawkins, that we functioned mostly in the honest side of trade, and the Chanaston family, they worked the other part of the trade industry. So while we knew of each other, we didn't interact very often.
I had some dealings with him from time to time. Everyone needs supplies. This could be valuable for us to use, or we might be able to get some kind of credibility or earn a favor by returning it to somebody who might care.
What does it do?
Well, I've seen things like this before. I think it can make you get real big.
Like
There's some
you could
kind
be
of
as big as us?
like you could be bigger than our Sasquatch friend over there.
Wow, how big would that make Sterling then?
Probably about like as big as these trees, I would think.
You mean I wouldn't have to climb up there? I could just look? Wow.
Most likely doubles your size.
That sounds like powerful magic.
Hawkins takes the necklace and looks at the back and says, "There's supposed to be some kind of special word that you say," and he reads the symbol on the back, and it's Ingorgio. He says, there it is, Ingorgio.
And with that, you see Hawkins double in size. Hawkins, what is your height? Usually at 3.5 feet, I believe.
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay, so even taller than Vaughn and Sterling. Hawkins, you are now 7 feet tall. Your clothes wonderfully match with you, as does your crossbow and your items. Everything seems to just comparatively, respectively, move up in size. And your steel defender looks at you, and like a small lapdog, the lion just grovels at your feet.
Hawkins, that's
Wow.
amazing.
No kidding. It's amazing how tall you guys are. I'm only just a hair taller than you, Sterling, and I can see well, it's dark out, but it's
so different.
I don't think they'll recognize you in Boshin now for sure.
I'm not sure I could fit in through the gate. Will I have to duck my head?
It's possible, but we can think about that in the morning.
You can barely see a little bit of the small burning embers of Boshin in the distance. But before that, you hear a pleasant sound, a wonderful singing voice echoing through the night air. It's a couple voices and a small set of instruments that are playing along. You hear this first before you see them, but Hawkins, from your vantage point now, you can see there's a small carriage that's moving along with 2 draft horses, and looks like 1 or 2 drivers from this point. seems to be where the music is coming from.
Well, they're traveling awful late into the night.
The music sounds really good.
It is pleasant. It's nice to encounter something that's not trying to kill us, hopefully.
It gets closer and you see there is a brightly colored, decorated group of travelers. They are singing well as they approach you, and you see that the driver is a man and he's singing this low baritone tune, and there is a catman or tabaxi, beautiful leopard skin and a proud floppy hat with a feather in it. He's barely clothed except for a vest and some breeches, wearing no shoes. He's got his legs crossed, and he's just singing a wonderful song in a wild language. But it sounds pleasant, it's harmonious, and he's plucking a small guitar. He sees you and notices you and does a double take at you, Hawkins. He waves his hat in a gesture and a greeting, and the three of you can see that his carriage is covered. It looks like there's a door and quite a few bags packed on the other side. He says, "Hey, friends. Fair night to travel."
Yes, be careful going through the forest. There are some not so pleasant little creatures out there.
Goblins, Sasquatches, and wolves, so am I.
Oh, yes, goblins and Sasquatches. Yes, I remember hearing about that. Many people from Boshan have been traveling. Carriages taken, saying little people been stealing and pilfering. Some creature in the forest eating their bones and drinking their blood. We are taking precautions. We are not going to stop for the night, but I assume you fellas are not going to stop either.
No, we tried that. It didn't work out.
He sees the steel defender, halts the carriage.
Hold on now.
The Catman jumps down, and that is the most pleasant mechanism I have ever seen. Does it obey all your commands?
Well, it is mostly purpose-driven. It's a specialized machine.
Fantastic. Let me tell you something, friend. My name is Nimicky. Pleasure to meet you. And Nimicky, the laughing one, they call me. You would make a fine baritone in a quartet. Has anyone ever told you that?
Well, I'm afraid that this isn't, I normally make a pretty good alto.
He sees the necklace on you and says, "Oh, well, if you are looking for some friendship, Boshan might not be where you would want to be going. The giant folk live over that way, from what I understand."
Yeah, I appreciate that. We will be heading into Boshan, but maybe not using this.
Grave news indeed. What brings you fellas into Boshan, whereas most people are trying to get away from it? Have you not heard the news?
What news?
That Boshan is aflame. Well, depending on who you ask. My friends, where does your allegiance lie before I stick my foot in my mouth and make myself an enemy of 3 handsome gentlemen?
We've been away from Boshan for a while. I don't know that we have a particular allegiance at this point. We're certainly not looking to cause any trouble.
Well then you are in a fair friendship tonight. For Nimicky is as neutral as you can be. I know how to sit on a fence. I know how to ride a fence too. I can make a friend with the fence as well. In fact, I could use some company tonight. What do you say let us put our backs together? Take advantage of our hospitality as we take advantage of your steel defender and protect ourselves against the Sasquatches, goblins, and werewolves, oh my.
Well, I think that sounds pleasant.
A bottle of wine for my friends. And he instantly, the music begins blaring loud. The rest of the band sets up a bonfire. Before you know it, the carriage is drawn, the horses are watered. They're sitting around drinking wine and singing and begging you to share stories of your adventures. Nimicky starts, of course. He says, "And there I was, in the jungles of Chulana, staring down a horrible snake creature. It rose from the quicksand, and I was sitting in there struggling. I thought that I was 6 seconds away from dying, when all of a sudden, mysterious creature comes out of the woods, a large lizard, but walking on its hind legs with tiny little forearms. Its jaw opened up and snatched that serpent creature and swung it around. And never have I ever been so grateful to all of nature and their horrible aberrations. It was a tyrannical creature, most certainly. Though I do not understand the ways, I am grateful that I am here to tell the tale. He takes a swig of the wine and passes it to you, Vaughn. Now, please, our wonderful friend, would you not share with us a campfire story? May we learn something from your mistakes.
Well, there was a time not so long ago that I saw something shiny in a tree, and I decided I should climb. Well, it seems that I stirred the bee's nest and was quickly surrounded by little creatures who did not want me there, and I had to fight them off. And it was not very fun. It did not go very well, but I am here to live to tell about it, and the end result was falling a huge tree with my bare hands. So can you believe it? Bees and a tree in the same encounter. And he takes a drink of the wine.
Fantastic. I think we could put music to that, could we not? Otho? Oh, yeah, we could put music to that. It'd be fun. All right. In custom, my friend, your name, please. Well, you did not share the name. I call you Handsome Fellow. That's what I call you. Handsome Fellow, the Bee Master. Bee Master is customary to pass the wine to the person on your right.
He would pass it to then Sterling, who is sitting at his right.
Sterling takes it merrily from Vaughn and is like, so there we were, in the woods. Vaughn is in the clutches of this Sasquatch. He's lifting him up, getting ready to eat him. This little goblin just nibbling on his back as well, hiding him, using him as a shield. And I said, heal. And there he is. He comes right awake, right? And then he runs away. He runs away. Like, I don't know what it was. I've never seen Vaughn run away from anything. And he runs away and he says, let's go. And I said, no. So I grab my staff by both hands and I run in and I bop this thing on the head and I hit it hard. Yes, I did. And then I think, Vaughn stole my kill. Like I was next. I was going to hit him again. But then, he jumped over my head and shot him with an arrow and stuff. But yeah, anyway, he's dead now. And it was a really good story.
Oh, indeed. And my friend here, he throws this piece of firewood at you menacingly. Strike it down. Hit it with your staff. Yes, yes. He takes out the killing shot. Oh, yes, my big friend, with a flowy beard and the smell of salt water on your skin. Yes, you vanquished your foe tonight. His eyebrows go up to you and kind of looks towards Hawkins.
He takes a big swig and then passes it to Hawkins.
Save some for your big friend.
All right. So there was this one time when my friend Sterling here and I were just enjoying ourselves over a nice warm meal, and out of the fireplace there came a little sound that Hawkins starts to shrink even as he's telling the story. There was a sound that came from the fireplace that sounded a little bit like it was a ghost, but just kind of a weird laughing detached sound that came. And then the ghost came out and I tried to shoot at it, and wouldn't you know, my bolt went straight through it. Didn't even hardly seem to affect it at all. And let's see what happened after that. Boy, oh, that's right. It was Sterling pulled out that staff just like he did there, and he whopped that thing. And wouldn't you know that the ghost actually seemed to feel when Sterling hit it. I just couldn't believe it. And if I remember right, we just stared it down until it ran away. I think, isn't that what happened, Sterling?
Sterling's feeling the wine now because he's young. He's not used to it. Yeah, that sounds right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everyone's just staring at Hawkins. The steel defender just moves its head over just a little bit to look to where you were and then looks down at you.
Hawkins takes a big swig and like halfway through it realizes, oh, this mug grew.
Well, that was by far the biggest tall tale I have ever heard. And they begin to clap, and the fire rouses in applause, seemingly pleased with all your stories. And then Hawkins, the person next to you, the wagon driver, Otho, is to your right.
Oh, here you go.
I'll take it from you, little man. Well, there I was in Boshin. Fires broke out, riots, chaos, everybody assuming you're the enemy, friends turning against friends, families dividing. No place safe, except in the lower city. There, one thing we all had in common, we had nothing. Not having items, there's no place for greed to grow. But the river rats, we were. River rat gang. We took care of our own. We got paid to rough up anybody who came into our neighborhood looking to break through buildings and windows. But to be honest, when Ocean set aflame, we couldn't stop it. The river rats had to disband. It was the saddest day of my life. Saying goodbye to my mates. I would have been at the end of the rope if it would not been for Nimiki here. Said I had a good voice. I can play the drum. It's no big deal. I'd go back to Boshin, but to be honest, there are too many sad memories there. I couldn't pull it off. And it wasn't just, looks at you, Sterling. It wasn't just the riots and the broken windows and the fires. It wasn't even the beheadings, the hangings. I mean, I never did anything against the noble houses, and as far as I know, they didn't ever do anything against me. Everyone's got to make a living. Everyone's got problems. Whether you got money or you don't got money, everybody's got problems. But it was when my mate came back after one of the riots. He had a lot of lumps on his head, and his eyes were black and bruised, and looked like he'd been poked and prodded. He said he had this dream. Couldn't get this voice out of his head. Go to the end of the road, he said. And it took over his mind. It's all he could think about. Nimiki puts a shoulder on his hand. Otho, my friend. The fires are beginning to dwindle right here and right now with your sad tale. We have company. This is not the time for sad memoirs. Spirits should be raised.
No, please go on. This is ringing a bell.
Otho looks at you in surprise. Well, where was I?
End of the road. End of the road.
Yeah, so my mate, he said that's the voice he heard. I mean, he got knocked out in the riots, and he was drugged back, and I don't know, that's all I knew. No, I heard this part. So what I tell Otho here, it was, there are ways and the reasons we left Boshin. Some people say, in bouts of paranoia, that Bosho is under a mind control. They say they control the minds of the nobles to make them give up their belongings, and control the minds of the beholden, so that the beholden would betray the nobles, and control the minds of the people, so that the people would begin rioting, and control the minds of the arcanists, that they would use all their powers. But, they can't get into Nimiki's mind. No, sir. And that's why you're with me, right, Otho? That's why you're with me. Yeah, that's right. They got into the minds of the river rats as well. I don't know if I believe all the mind theories. I like to believe that everybody just does what they want because they want it, not because anybody's controlling you. It scares me. Yeah, well, you're scaring me by telling these sad stories to our friends here, and our small friend here might have taken the cake with the tall tale, but yours is just too dark for a night where there are goblins and Sasquatches and fairy wolves, you said? Ooh, and bees in the trees. Perhaps let us get a little bit shut-eye. Traditionally, we take turns keeping the fires burning, keeping a sharp lookout. Don't stare too long into the fire in the night, or you won't be able to see your enemy approaching. Use the light to your advantage, my friends. And if you go into Boshin, then we shall leave you in the morning. But I do wish you well. Oh, with all the blessings of Maztica and all the blessings of the Tabaxi folk, the Cat Lord. May you have as many lives as we have. And if I could but spare a life of mine, I would give it to each of you as you go into the heart of danger, into the belly of the lion, as it were. As Nimiki issues these parting words, how do each of you in turn respond?
Vaughn looks at him and smiles and says, "Thank you for sharing your fire and your stories and bringing a little peace and comfort to a arduous trip. We are grateful for the reprieve, and we will part ways in the morning, but for this evening, we are grateful for your company and glad to share in what you've offered."
But of course, Beastmaster, the pleasure is all ours. It's hard to come around good people nowadays, so we like them when they come by.
Sterling's instantly sobered up. That haunting line that he had in that dream is repeating. The adventures and all the fun of the night have quickly worn away into that sense of dread again as he goes back into the last place where he died. So he's contemplative. He leans back on his hands, looks up at the stars, and feels a little comfort. But he enjoys the fire and the friendship, but he doesn't say anything.
Hawkins' mood is similarly low after that grim tale. And he sort of quietly sets about his business, preparing his things, replacing some of the resources he used today.
Otho, my friend, since you told the last tale, why don't you take first watch? Let our fine guests rest for the evening. He stretches and yawns. His tail flicks in the light, and Nimiki curls up for a restful night of sleep. The winding road stretches northward beyond the plains and into the outer city, just over the last hill, into Boshan. And throughout the night, even still, small embers of light and black smoke rises, for Boshan is still aflame. And so for now, our story concludes. Every story comes to an ending, so for now, we must conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, you should visit Tabletop Audio. You can find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. Take the time to sojourn with us. For articles on playing your very own Dungeons & Dragons games, visit Sojourners Awake at www.sojournersawake.com. You can also find us being inspirational on Facebook and Instagram. And as always, Sojourner, may your story continue.